Ugh. Alright, so we have to go upstairs, I guess. Around the upside. So go back out here, then we go up the stairs. Stairs. There we go. And that's where we came in. Can't go that way.
No alarms. Looks like nobody here knows about the mess I made on the way in. Nice job, Beth.
What do we have in here? Math is evil. Okay. From Martin Hatch.
I've aided in Jack Joyce's escape from his cell. He is here to kidnap Dr. Sophia Mall. This presents the perfect opportunity to move forward with our agenda. Tonight, we send Monarch into a state of chaos. Tonight, we ensure Paul Serene's downfall. When Paul hears about Jack's escape, he will order Sophia Mall to be locked away in the villa for protection. As Jack nears the location, have citizen sabotage the strong surveillance so that his movements will remain undetected. This is Joyce's mission in any covert manner possible. Sophia is Paul's only resource capable of developing the treatment she needs. With her out of the picture, you'll need to destroy his remaining treatment to render Paul helpless as his sickness grows. All of his treatments are kept in Dr. Kim's lab, who will gain access to the area and ensure that the entire lab is destroyed. I predict that Paul's sickness will take hold within 6 hours of these events, spurred by the increasingly frequent stutters. Only then will we make our final move.
Dang. I guess I've doomed Paul to die. Oh no, this man tripped and fell. Are you doing okay, buddy? Oh, look at your face. You're like, oh no. What'd you trip on, dude? Oh, the door. Good job. From Fiona Miller to Beth Wilder. I just got word that Jack Joyce is in Monarch custody. Walked right to the mansion on Gull Island and gave himself up. What the hell are you up to? If you want my help from the inside, then I need to know what's going on. Fiona. Drew Fiona Miller from Beth. Yeah, oops. I'm sure you noticed that things didn't go exactly according to plan at Ground Zero. Seems like running a theme tonight. I can't go into details now, but we found something that I believe is the key to achieving the countermeasure. The solution is in sight, but we need to kidnap Sophia Amaro in order to get it to work. Jack gave himself up as part of the plan to get him inside. I'm on my way to release him so he can get to Amaro. A poor man's Trojan horse. Desperate times, desperate measures. What's your status? Any update on the Dr. Kim lead? We may need your help from inside to pull this off. Any chance you can lower security in and around the R&D facility? Our plans tonight might actually overlap for once. I'm going to attempt to access Dr. Kim's lab tonight, during the gala, to find out if he knew about the countermeasure. I still think that's our strongest lead. However, if I get inside, I should be able to shut down some of the security measures from inside. The problem is that getting inside that lab might prove to be a long shot. Couldn't get a hold of Marl's key card, so I've resorted to the shameless flirting in order to find a means in. I'm going to the gala as Charlie Wincott's date, in hopes that he can get me inside. That's if I can hold back from punching out the douche for that long. Consider this a test of restraint. I know that you think Jack is the key to obtaining a countermeasure, but the evidence is really stacking up that Dr. Kim knew something about the device. All the research he did in that lab is classified. They're hiding something big in there. I'll let you know what I find. I'd warn you that your plan on the island sounds reckless, but I'm sure you're fully aware. Keep in mind that the minute Dr. Amal goes missing, the entirety of Monarch is going to be hunting you down. She's the only thing keeping Serene alive. He won't let her go without a fight. Keep safe. Well, Martin Hatch.
People, it seems we are having an even busier day than we anticipated. Be aware that both Liam Burke and Jack Joyce are now being held in the detention center at the island. It should go without saying that Burke no longer has any authority within Monarch Solutions, and should be treated as any other detainee. Both Burke and Joyce are considered exceptionally dangerous, and Joyce particularly so. He is Cronin active, and should be handled with caution. That said, Joyce has given himself up. It's possible that he's realized the futility of his position, and the fight has simply gone out of him, but I'm not convinced he has no ulterior motive. Mrs. Serene has to concentrate on his speech tonight. It's extremely important to the future of this company, so please ensure that everything goes smoothly. In the meantime, I will personally be conducting an interrogation of Joyce. Please expect my arrival at the detention center shortly.
That's Emerald's office.
Yeah, we'll check that in a minute. Oh my gosh, more huge reading. Is she playing a video game? I think she's playing a video game. Oh my god! She's playing Alan Wake! Yeah, she's playing Alan Wake! Nice. Good reference. Oh, this room has nothing in it at all. Alright. Don't know what she's saying, though. Let's see what Martin Hatch has to say.
Greetings. It has been brought to my attention that there is some confusion as to the reason for the upcoming evening gala on Gold Island. I understand that some feel that such a celebration is frivolous, even misguided, in the aftermath of last night's events at the Riverport University and the now present, steadily advancing fracture in time. These concerns are understandable, but they are missing the bigger picture. Monarch Solutions is now entering a phase in which its true purpose will be fulfilled. We have finally arrived at the moment for which we have spent years preparing. The purpose of this event is twofold. First of all, those selected to be a part of the Lifeboat project as scientists, technicians, report personnel, or in some other role, it will be important to see and hear Paul Serene. Continued confidence in the survival program is vital for the continued survival of Monarch, and ultimately, the human race itself. This is particularly important given recent events. We need to present a desirable and reassuring counterpoint to the sacrifices we've had to make. Naturally, not everybody at the party will be among those chosen few, so a certain degree of informational hygiene will be required. I trust you will ensure that those reporting to you are informed precisely to the degree necessary. Secondly, for all our autonomy and vast resources, Monarch is not functionally independent from the rest of society. In order for our plans to succeed, we will need the support and cooperation of the authorities and numerous business partners, even though they don't know our true goals. A demonstration of power and confidence, as well as certain judicious investments of the currency and influence, will go a long way towards securing that support. Our PR biz, Blitz, has been working well, but in order to maintain momentum, we must maintain an amicable relationship with Riverport's leadership. Our entire approach is based on the idea of Monarch stepping in to assist the authorities and being welcomed by citizen administration alike. Should the latter suddenly declare Monarch help unwanted or unsanctioned, our entire strategy would collapse in just a few hours. That would be disastrous to our plans. In conclusion, this is a tremendously important event for the future of Monarch Solutions, and for the future itself. If there are any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me.
There we go. I'll find out what Dr. Marl has going on.
The Admiral had tried to warn Paul. The end of time was approaching quickly, less than 24 hours away.
Mr. Serene believed it would take years to run its course. Admittedly, he was wrong.
To Sophia Amal from Paul Serene. Sophia, as promised in our last session, I am now going to transcribe what I recall from my dreams. I still have doubts that this exercise will help alleviate my symptoms, but I'm willing to explore the idea further if you truly believe its merit. For someone who is not a medical doctor, let alone a mental health professional, you seem to take a great interest in my thoughts. Not that I don't appreciate it. Here is my first attempt. I recall a haunting image of 7 red doors. Each door had a wrought iron handle and was dripping liquid metal onto the ground, creating a pool in the middle of the room. I looked down to the aqueous metallic glow at my feet, to see my own glimmering reflection, revealing that I had aged half a lifetime. Startled, I looked back up to discover that only one door remained. Jack Joyce stood in front of it. The heat in the room was overwhelming. Jack was sweating profusely, his skin red and peeling open. He begged me to take him back home, but there was no door leading home. I opened the only door left and entered, discovering that we were back in the same room we had just exited. He refused to come to terms with this and opened the door again. I followed him, over and over as he desperately opened the doors, forever leading us back to where we started. The heat grew and he howled in pain, begging to know why I made the other doors disappear, why there was only one path. He begged me to bring the other doors back. He begged me to take him home. The iron pool burst into flames. Jack screamed in agony. I grabbed him, told him what he needed to learn to endure the heat, to embrace the flame. I knew it would come to pass eventually, but the only way to survive it was to accept its inevitability. My body began swaying rapidly, dancing to the movement of the flames around me until my bones faded out of existence, and I surrendered to the fires until we were one and the same. I was no longer being in one place at a time. My life force spread evenly across the flames until I was no longer an individual in one body, but a grander, shifting entity. I could feel Jack being consumed within my essence. I felt a power within the heat, a clarity of intent. I forgot about my desire to ever return from the flames, because the body that once desired to return was lost forever. I became the very thing that I entered, and it became me, a cyclical fury chasing itself. Ouroboros. I woke up in a cold sweat. I quickly wrote down words that poisoned my mind in that moment. Delmore Schwartz was right. Time is the fire. With Jack Joyce in our custody, I thought it relevant to forward you a message you sent me years ago. Do not underestimate the significance he holds in your life. I understand your concern that he is reluctant to accept the inevitability of what is coming. However, when he sees the whole picture, he'll have no choice but to believe. We all had our doubts once. You showed us the light. Give him time. Projected fracture progression. We've looked at the preliminary data on the frequency and severity of the stutters and crunched the numbers, and the results are alarming. Our original projection, which gave us years until the fracture reached the point where time breaks down completely, does not match up with the progression of stutters we are experiencing. Put simply, the stutters are happening more and more frequently, clearly indicating that the Meyer-Joyce field is breaking down much faster than we thought. Taking the rate of acceleration, we can hypothesize that we might have as little as 24 hours until we reach the end of time, or the point at which time stops and no longer starts up again. We do not know why the original projection was wrong, and why that data, which we do consider reliable, coming as it does from Mr. Serene, seems to entirely contradict our current findings. Regardless, the main issue seems clear. In order to achieve Monarch Solutions' stated goals, the lifeboat protocol should be activated ASAP.
That there looks like what Beth wanted. Oh, shit.
Yes!
Emerald's at the party. The stutter won't last.
Uh-oh.
I better find a way out of here and get to the party.
Something fashionable. I got the Cronin harness for Beth. CFR briefing. By Dr. Sophia Morrow. It's no exaggeration to say that the Cronin field regulator, or the CFR, is at the heart of all Monarch's technological advances. Like the time machine is at the core of the time machine? It has taken on a somewhat mythical quality, given its origins and the vital role it plays in the lifeboat project. But in actuality, the CFR's applications are very practical. That's not to say the CFR hasn't had a course-altering impact on the work Monarch Solutions does. It's been hugely influential in the development of both the stutter-proofing technology that allows us to shield large areas from the effects of a zero state, enabling time to keep flowing within them even as it stops everywhere else, as well as the same smaller, personalized application of the same technology. The portable harnesses that allow our soldiers and technicians to operate freely within stutters. We think of Dr. Henry Kim as the father of all this technology, and deservedly so. But for all of his brilliance, it was his dedication in uncovering the secrets of the CFR that allowed him to make his breakthroughs. Despite Dr. Kim's hard work, the CFR's functionality is still not fully understood, and we have not been able to replicate the device. Having more than one of them would obviously be greatly advantageous to us, but we find ourselves in a precarious position where, in order to fully investigate it, we would have to take it apart. Given its immense power, such an undertaking would pose obvious risk. Perhaps even more importantly, there's no guarantee that we'd be able to put it back together again. Given that it's vital to the implementation of the Lifeboat Protocol, it's our policy to leave it intact. We do know, however, that the CFR can not only store an immense amount of chronon particles, it can also tap into the Marjo's field and, with great precision, manipulate it. It's this unique ability that our own chronon technology replicates, albeit at far less control and efficiency. It's also what makes the Lifeboat Protocol a reality. By itself, our stutter-proofing technology is powerful and reliable, but its rate of chronon particle consumption is high, and it increases at an alarming rate as we widen the volume of space that stutter-proofing covers. This would, on the face of it, make the stutter-proofing a very temporary solution indeed, one that could perhaps buy us some subjective weeks once we enter a permanent zero state, but which would ultimately only delay the inevitable. However, the CFR changes all of that. When the permanent stutter-proofing installed in the lifeboat, indeed, the very stutter-proofing that makes the lifeboat in the first place, is directed by the CFR, the system becomes vastly more efficient. Our chronon particle consumption is reduced to around 1% of what it otherwise would be. Given that chronon particles are hard to source, even at our ground zero for installation, and our stockpiles are decidedly limited, this means that the CFR makes the difference between lifeboat being a temporary stopgap solution or a very long-term undertaking that hopefully allows us to eventually find a solution to end the end of time. Oh boy. Another really long one. Should we read this whole thing? We try to really read it really fast. Most of what we know about the shift is theoretical based on observation by Mr. Serene and limited experience we have been able to conduct on only one subject we have managed to capture. They do not seem to have a stable physical presence either. The data we are gathering appears to be fragmented and contradictory as if there were countless versions of the subject occupying the same space. Our current theory is that they somehow exist in a present state of quantum superposition, or to put it another way, the reference is the famous Schrodinger's cat through thought experiment. The cat is both alive and dead at the same time. The full mechanics and implications of this exceed current understanding, but on a practical level, it seems to make them highly distant injury. It appears that even if shift encounters deadly force, it may kill one of its aspects, but because it exists as multiple iterations of itself, including iterations that we are not killed by the force, it doesn't stop. Current theory suggests that the only way to stop a shifter is to cause its wave function to collapse into superpositions of a single Einstein gate. In practical terms, the shifter must be affected with deadly force enough times for it to run off healthy versions of itself. As such, direct confrontation with the shifter should be a last resort. Slide 2. Contact with the shifter is extremely dangerous. We know that they are essentially mobile repositories of vast amounts of chronon particles and that they can only exist in a zero state, an area which has been depleted of chronon particles, typically by fault in the Meyer-Joyce field that encompasses the universe. Colloquially, refer to these as stutters in time. We also know that shifters are host to any source of chronon particles other than themselves within stutters, so any chronon-active individual with a stutter may find themselves targeted by shifters. It appears that movement is in stutters, by which we mean the very movement of particles within the face of which time flows, not merely the movement of the individual disturbs them, and they respond with considerable aggression. As discussed previously, shifters are extremely resistant to damage. They are also quite physically formidable, but their biggest threat is the distortion field around them. Its exact nature is unknown, but we know that the warps of properties of the space surrounding them exerting great physical stress and unpredictable forces on its surroundings. Again, in practical terms, close proximity to a shifter may be fatal even if not actual physical contact takes place. Slide 3. The stutter-proofing technology Monarch Solutions had advanced offers solid protection against shifters. Time flows normally within a stutter-proof area, so shifters cannot exist within them. Therefore, as long as the shutter-proofing remains as active, shifters are not a problem. However, shutter-proofing up large areas is not feasible given our chronon particle budget, so we have developed the technology to defend against the shutters. The shifters are chronon dampeners. A chronon dampener works by annihilating free-floating chronon particles within a specified area. Shifters' forms are hypersaturated chronon particles. They cannot enter an area in which the chronon dampener is active without their wave functions collapsing. Therefore, operatives in the field have solid portable defense against shifters. Our own technology is shielded against the dampener's effect, though activities and shutters undertaken by our strikers and other operatives are not hindered. However, as an unfortunate side effect, the dampeners have a crippling effect on individuals who are chronon active without the aid of technology. Accordingly, should Mr. Serene be present, you should always make him aware of your intentions before activating a dampener. You may rest assured that the dampener is not powerful enough to do actual physical harm to Mr. Serene, whose systems constantly produce new chronon particles to replace the ones that are lost, but as the dampener's effect are unpleasant and enervating, such as encountering and likely to lead an awkward conversation about future career prospects. Alright. Well, we've read everything. Let's go get ourselves a save point and call it a day.
Quite expensive piece of tech you stole.
Bill me. I knew Beth's cover wouldn't last long. Had to get it to her at the party before it was too late. The Monarch combat gear
Still
was
not sure-
unwieldy. What I'd taken from
Ah.
Dr. Amaral's office was much lighter. Almost like a civilian model.
Okay, so now I can have audio dialogue on these bits. Weird that it didn't happen before.
Guns made to operate in a stutter. Paul had clear priorities. When time ends, guns don't.
Alright. Not even the end of time can stop guns. And saved. So, thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this, please feel free to click on anything else on my channels. I want you to be safe and stay awesome, and this is Daster, signing out. Bye!